Welcome to Mindset Win. My name is Lisa Ramuschkat, and I am back once again with Jörg Peter Klöppel, Head of Mental Performance at the Red Bull APC.
Hi, Lisa. How are you?
Jörg, man, I'm good, but listen, I'm a little bit sad as well because this is already the final episode of this season of Mindset Win. I can't imagine. Time flew by.
Yeah, it went quick, didn't it? Yeah.
It did. And we'll definitely be reflecting on all the tips and tools that we learned throughout the season, or especially myself, and reflect on that. But first, let's take a look at the conversation that I had this Tuesday with American climber Sasha DeJulian.
Sometimes you have regression before you have progression. And through the act of consistently falling in my sport, I think that I've learned how to get back up time and time again.
Jörg, one of the quotes that I really took away from that episode was when Sasha said, she basically fails 90% of the time.
Yeah.
And I was startled. How can you fail 90% of the time and still, be enthusiastic to that level?
Yeah, because I guess it always depends on the tasks, doesn't it? Because in some tasks you have to fail many times and it's just about making it work that one time to achieve it.
Mm.
In other tasks, you definitely cannot fail at all, because then, for example, in motorsports, in Formula One racing, if you make a big mistake and you crash into the wall, the race is over.
Or a small mistake even.
Yeah, so you don't have any room for mistakes there. But also something that I always think about is, the statistic that even the greatest tennis players of all time, like, Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, they still lose like 45% of their points. It's part of the process. You can't expect to just win all the time. So failing is part of the process, and it's something that in some ways you have to accept. Or in the specific example of climbing, you can actually, learn every time you fall, learn every time you fail, because then only that way you can find out that the kind of movement you just tried, the hand position, the foot position and whatever, just didn't work. So you've got to try it a different way.
Okay, Jörg, now, if, let's say, tennis players fail 45% of the time or of the points that they are playing, how do they cope with that? How do they not lose their minds?
Well, in that specific example, they already know going into a match that they're going to lose some points. You're never going to win every point in a tennis match. So,
but then 45% is a lot.
Yeah, 45% is almost every second shot, right? So in that sense, you... like we said on a previous episode, like the best athletes have the shortest memory. You have to learn tools to really quickly finish a point and then focus on the next point again. Now, in other sports where you don't have the chance to fail so much, it's all about, it's a longer process then, right? So if you've been working towards a big goal at the Olympics, for example, and then you're a 100-meter sprinter, you're in the final, and you have a false start and you're out, then that is something that, it's a big thing that's not going to happen to you every day, and it's going to take you quite long to recover from that. Like, as you can imagine, if you have a big failure somewhere, then it also takes you time to get over that and recover, right? So it's not like when a professional athlete has a mistake somewhere and fails, that they have a tool to just quickly forget about it and move on. But yeah, it takes them time to kind of process all of that as well. But the important thing is that at some point they find a way to then move on from it and continue. Yeah.
And those ways are individual for everyone?
Yeah, and exactly. And some people need to kind of speak about it a bit more than others. But in general, my recommendation is always, find the people that you trust, that you feel comfortable with, and do speak about it. That's the best way to process it. If you just kind of keep it to yourself and you don't let it all out, it's going to be a lot harder.
Okay, then, but Jörg, what if I want to get better? Can I fail more often, I guess? How do I get to that point to feel as resilient as they sound.
Yeah, it reminds me of the episode we did recently about, getting out of your comfort zone, pushing yourself a bit further. And so actually being prepared to fail in some situations, because, if you really want to learn a new skill or experience new things, then you have to be prepared to fail in the first few days or weeks of it as well. If you learn a new instrument, for example, it's not going to sound very nice in the beginning, so that's somewhat failing as well. But you have to be prepared for that and get through it. And because we tend to obviously avoid situations where we know we're going to fail. So, therefore, like if you could push yourself outside of your comfort zone to experience that a little bit more.
And then there's a second topic that really caught me. And it kind of fits here because, you fail and then maybe you back to Sasha, maybe you're falling off the wall or, you're not grabbing the rock properly. Panic sets in, doubt set in. And she said she uses breathing as a technique to get back into the zone, basically. We talked about two different things or techniques of breathing, I guess.
Yeah.
It was the box breathing, which was very specific.
Yeah.
And then she mentioned this out-of-body experience that was really wild, too.
Yeah.
The whole idea, the whole concept of breathing as a tool to calm your mind or sharpen your focus. What's your thought on that?
Well, breathing in general is a very interesting field, and it's such a unique thing that we can do because if you're not paying attention to it, you're still breathing. It's just something that your body does automatically. But it is something that we can consciously control. So, there's a lot of processes happening in the body that just automatically happen as well, but we can't control them. But breathing is so unique because it's something that does happen automatically. We need it to survive, but we can also control it. So that's almost like an open window for us to control bodily processes really quite a lot, because through the breathing we can then control a lot of other things in the body. So for example, with this box breathing that she mentioned, or also just shortening the inhale phase and extending the exhale phase, something like that can immediately reduce the heart rate. So if I'm breathing in for 4 seconds and then breathing out for 8 seconds, that will just lower my heart rate immediately, because when we're breathing in, the heart rate increases, and when we're breathing out, the heart rate decreases. So if I make the exhale phase longer continuously over even just a short amount of time,
How
I can...
long?
Well, just a minute or 2 minutes, that's enough. So it really doesn't take very long. And immediately I can lower the heart rate, and through that process then also change a lot of other processes in the body, including as well the brain waves. So through this, like by taking control of the breathing, I can really impact the way that my body behaves and the way that I feel.
I tried box breathing before and I didn't like it. I feel like it didn't have any impact and it was just uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It was just an uncomfortable process.
I agree, actually. So maybe just for the listeners to explain, this box breathing is the idea of inhaling for 4 seconds, then holding the breath for 4 seconds, exhaling for 4 seconds, and then holding again for 4 seconds. So it's kind of like you go around in this box, if you like. But it's very individual. I don't particularly like it either because box breathing actually makes each phase the same amount of time. Whereas numerous studies have shown that actually increasing the exhale phase is more beneficial. And I'm not even a big fan of counting and putting numbers to it, because at the end of the day, it should be something like the purpose of doing it is to feel better, to feel pleasant, to relax and to calm down. But if I'm really focusing on this counting and trying to get it perfectly right, I might even just make myself a little bit more stressed by trying to do this breathing techniques to the books really perfectly. So in general, I just recommend to the athletes, just pay attention to the exhale phase, just make that really long. And then the inhale phase, just, through the nose, nice and deep breaths into the stomach, and then just, again, a long exhale phase through the mouth. So it doesn't have to be 8 seconds and 4 seconds or 7.2 seconds and 3.8 seconds. Maybe if you really study it, you find small differences there that maybe this amount of time would be better. But at the end of the day, just pay attention to the breath, exhale longer, and even by just focusing on the breath, that's somewhat like a mindfulness technique as well, because I'm not focusing on any of the other external factors or any other things that have just happened anymore, but I'm really kind of zoning in on my breathing, which is kind of like a mindfulness technique then in the same way.
I would like to dare to challenge what you just said a little bit.
Go for it.
Because you said you're a fan of not counting because it should be somewhat intuitive and make you feel good.
Yeah.
But then let's look at the other experience that Sasha shared with us, which is something that I tried too, like a proper breathwork session. And I said it in the other episode as well, and I'll say it again. We did it for a really long period of time. I think it was a full 60 minutes. We breathed in through the nose into the stomach, then a second inhale into the chest, and then breathed out. And it was super uncomfortable. But the woman leading the session was, really motivating about it too. She's like, I know it's uncomfortable, but stay with it. And then I didn't have an outer body experience the way she did, but it was still wild. And like my fingers would tingle and my whole face. And it definitely did something wild to my body too. And it wasn't intuitive.
Right.
And like I feel in order to achieve whatever you want to achieve with your breath, sometimes you have to go through the...
But what did you achieve? If you say it was uncomfortable and you didn't...
It was an emotional release thing. And I definitely think I got there.
Okay.
That was wild.
Different purpose, right? What I just mentioned was just a quick fix to calm down, shift your focus a little bit. Like in the middle of climbing, Sasha probably wouldn't be doing what you did. So there's a very different purpose to it. And that's what I mean about breathing as a topic in general. There's so many, because at the same time, you can also use breathing to activate yourself. And that's what a lot of athletes do as well. So
how so?
Well, if I shorten my breaths, and especially the exhale phase, I activate myself. So there's, again, loads of different techniques for doing that as well. And if you're like a free diver or something, then you have all the knowledge about this, and it's almost a whole new field of science.
Yeah.
Once you start looking at breathing.
What other techniques do you use with your athletes? Shorten your breath in and out in order to activate. What else do you do?
In terms of breathing? So you can attach other things to breathing as well. So, for example, we've spoken about pre-performance routines before. You can really include breathing in that as well. So that's if I'm talking with an athlete who's struggling a little bit with controlling their thoughts and emotions before a competition, or even like just before dropping in or whatever their sport is, you can actually use the breath as kind of like like I said earlier, to bring the focus more on myself and control my thoughts a little bit, and go through this pre-performance routine. So actually attaching a self-talk or a self-talk or a specific thought to a long, deep out breath.
Oh, so it would be, I'm ready for this. I can do it. I don't know.
Something like that. Yeah. Because breathing is something that any athlete in any sport can do. Everyone has to be able to breathe.
Yeah,
so
the controllable part.
Even the Formula One driver or the MotoGP rider or a skier, skateboarder, whoever, everyone has the ability to do a mindful, purposeful breath before they race or compete.
Really cool. I really like that. And you guys at home should really try the box breathing and let us know if it's just as uncomfortable for you as it is for us. Okay, that's really cool. Thanks so much for now, York.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Now, York, as this is our final episode of season 3, which fills me with quite a bit of sadness for sure. I thought we would look back on some of the bits and tools and techniques that you established throughout the season for us. And listen, I have done my homework.
Okay.
And sat down and made a couple of notes to, let my mind wander through those episodes that we did together. And let me just throw them at you, and you just jump in whenever you feel like saying anything.
Cool. Let's do it.
So one thing that I definitely took away is that I liked journaling before, but that throughout these episodes, especially with Seiya, but I feel like most of the athletes actually use it. It became so much more serious for me, or like more legit.
Good. Yeah. Maybe you see the bigger purpose of it now as well.
Kinda.
Yeah.
Or like proof that it's not just, a girl writing in her diary, but actually that this is like a scientific way to sharpen your mind.
Good. Yeah.
It's so easy. Everyone can do it.
For sure.
And then listen, I have now a list in my iPhone that says it's called York.
Okay.
And and I wrote down a couple of things that you taught us here. And it's especially the set of lists that we talked about. I don't remember in which episode this was, but it's like to get yourself ready for whatever job you want to do that's ahead of you. It's like a little rehearsal, or like a set of manifestations that you write down. The first one is motivational, starting with maybe one kickoff word.
Yeah.
The second one is instructional, so kind of like, this is what you got to do, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And then the third one is analytical.
Okay, yeah.
And I didn't learn them by heart yet, which was your suggestion, but those were good.
Yeah.
And I really have to get there because that's great.
It's like, it's all about self-talk, and something that we intuitively do, but by paying a bit more attention to it, we can use it as kind of like a super tool.
It definitely is a super tool. Do you have like a best case looking back to your work with the athletes where you could, or where you felt you could make like a really big impact?
Yeah, I guess with a downhill mountain biker, there was a lot of nerves before the start, and just a lot of just uncontrolled emotions and thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And by setting this really clear routine and giving him like a self-talk script that he would just kind of rehearse and then basically just read out to himself before dropping in, he managed to get a lot more control of how he felt and the things he was thinking, and that gave him, clearly even observable, a much better start in all of the races.
That's so exciting. How does that make you feel, seeing the athlete improve because of your work together?
It's that's an example where I can definitely be very proud and happy about that, because in sports psychology, a lot of it is quite hidden. You don't always see many of the changes immediately. But then every now and then you get these cases where it is quite obvious, and most importantly, the athlete feedback as well. That obviously is quite a nice feeling for me.
Yeah, I can imagine. So that was the motivational, instructional, analytical thing. And then there was another, triangle of questions that you gave us to work with. That was more for after you did a job, like evaluate your own performance in the most healthy way, I would say. The first question was, what went well and what can I be actually proud of?
Yep.
Number 2 was, what was okay but could be improved? And number 3, what was literally out of my control and therefore to be forgotten? Yeah. That's really nice too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the second one, can also be some things where I really just made a mistake. Yeah. And then trying to think about what can I do.
I wasn't that hard on myself on that
one. You made it a bit nicer in your notes, but exactly. So that's quite a simple way to reflect after a task, after some sort of important situation that I've been in. Yeah,
it helps being kinder to oneself too. I think.
Yeah, and
If I don't say the mistake one, no, I'm kidding.
no, but I mean, it's something where we hear it a lot, like that you learn from your mistakes, and you learn from failure and all of that. But like, how do you actually do that? And I think by just answering those 3 categories, you can start to structure it a little bit better.
And then you really changed my way of looking at routines and what that means.
Yeah.
Because maybe you remember coming into our talk about routines here, one of the Thursdays, I really thought that having a routine means every week or every day is the same, or every Monday is the same.
Yeah.
But you broke it down for me so much more to a routine can be a micro situation that just makes you feel better about whatever you're about to do.
Yeah, almost like a checklist, or more like a plan. Like, these are the things that I should be doing before a specific task, and I'll go through that in this way because I know that's going to make me feel the best about it, and it's going to prepare me in the best optimal way. However, if I can't manage to do all of that, then I can still adapt that routine and kind of leave out some bits of it, so that it doesn't, like, it shouldn't become a ritual.
Yeah. Not stressful.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, and this might be my favorite episode. I kind of don't want to say it because I genuinely enjoyed speaking to every single person we had on the show. But Christian Blumenfeld and Olaf Alexander Boo, they were definitely special somehow because they just vibed together. So, I don't know, especially I've never seen that before. And you developed for us, or not developed, but you gave to us the concept of the 3 C's that really defines a good and healthy athlete and coach relationship. Maybe you can
exactly.
C+1 actually. Maybe you can recite that one. Yeah,
just really interesting research. If anyone wants to go out there and look at it, I really recommend it. So it's, the secret ingredients or the special ingredients for a good coach-athlete relationship are this closeness, commitment, complementarity, and then the +1 is the co-orientation. So again, just how well the athlete and the coach actually understand each other, and whether they perceive the relationship in the same way as well. So yeah, fascinating bit of research, a lot of truth in that, that I've observed myself as well when working with athletes and coaches together. That really these 4 key aspects will shape how good or how effective the relationship is.
Yeah. So maybe if you guys at home want to go and check out the Christian and Olaf episode again, please do so. And maybe you want to have the 3 C's +1 in mind. York, do you feel like I forgot anything crucial that was important to you or that really mattered to you throughout our episodes together?
Maybe just a general comment is that, we speak about these amazing performers, whether they're athletes or doing other things in their lives. But something that, again, came through for me in this season is that at the end of the day, they're all humans, just like you and I. And there are so many parts of what they do that they struggle to really explain themselves, because a lot of things just come intuitively. And obviously they do a lot of things right, but there are still many things that they want to learn as well. So just kind of a general comment from my side that I, again, was happy to see that we're talking about humans just like you and I, who just have somewhat exceptional talent or this determination to have achieved outstanding things. And for sure, there's a lot of things that we can learn from them, and they can learn a lot from each other as well. And I think that's just, the nice thing for me, that we're all, by talking to each other and by sharing our experiences and our thoughts and so on, we can all learn from each other.
100%. And we definitely did learn so much from you this season. Thanks again for all your input, for all your insights throughout all the episodes. Thank you so much, York.
Thanks for having me. It's been great.
Yeah, and this is it from us on this season 3 of Mindset Win. Thanks for joining us, guys. And if you missed any of the episodes, make sure to go back to them, check them out on whatever platform you prefer to listen to podcasts, or you can check out our brand new Mindset Win YouTube channel. And remember, you can always let us know what impact this season and York's smart tips have had on you. You can either leave a review or comment, or shoot us an email on mindsetwin@redbull.com. Hope to see you very soon again, and bye for now.